Like, if you don't have friends, you don't have a social life, and then you're telling your husband that you're bored, well, you're boring. I say that with love.
Now, you bring the fulfillment to your marriage. What are your
Mm,
thoughts on that?
I agree. I think a lot of people see marriage as the end goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not the start of a journey. Now, these days, we expect our husbands to be our best friend, our confidant, our provider, our pastor, our everything, right? And we don't look at what our needs are, what our own unmet needs are, and we don't figure out what they are, how to fulfill them. And that frustration then pours out into the marriage, and you think, oh, this marriage is not fulfilling me. But there are things that you need to do to fulfill yourself. There's some things that you can only source from within yourself. There's some things that you can only source from above yourself, which is God. And there's some things that the community needs to fulfill for you.
Hey, Queen. It's your girl, Nikki O, once again here by way of Wives That Thrive. Just bringing another amazing podcast to you. How are you today? Oh, I have an amazing guest today. As always, I bring the most amazing wives to you just so that you can hear that you are not alone in this journey of marriage, right? That everything and all things happening to you has happened to someone else, but they were able to get through it. And prayerfully, you'll get a nugget or two that will help you also recognize that you can get through it. So I hope that you get some good information from this. In the process, just go ahead and subscribe, and even share this video with any of your queens that you know might need to hear this other information as well. Today, I have my darling sister. Her name is Bibi Jamieson, and her handle is at Restore to Life. And she is a psychotherapist. She is a heart centered therapist. She's a love ambassador, a relationship coach, a couples therapy coach. She does premarital counseling. She is a mother-daughter coach, and she does online therapy. There is so many angles to this amazing queen that I just can't wait to share her with you. So without further ado, she'll tell you so much more about herself. She's married, she has children, a lot going on. But without further ado, please help me welcome my amazing friend, Miss B.
What an introduction. I'm blushing.
Oh my goodness. And I just love your smile. You are radiating. Love it, love it, love it.
Just trying to be like you, sis.
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being here, for saying yes. This has been a treat. This has been long overdue, but I am so glad you're here. So let's start at the beginning. First and foremost, whoa. Okay, what is a psychotherapist? What does that mean? How did you get there? You woke up one morning and said, you know what? Psychotherapist it is.
Psychotherapist. Oh, you know what? Um, so my husband and I, the stud muffin, we
Yeah.
used to volunteer in church, and we used to help the couples there, premarital couples, and we would invite them to our home. We would do a survey with them and just talk them through, help them through whatever issues they were having in their relationships. And, it was such a blessing to me to be in that role because, Scott and I really wanted to just help other couples because we could see that they were struggling. But what would often happen at these dinners is like, I really connected with them, Scott and I did, but I realized that some of these couples, these individuals are dealing with something a lot deeper,
Mm.
something that needs more than your regular church program, premarital counseling, something that just one dinner cannot fix. And so I just got curious. It happened to be at the time as well where my kids were old enough to start walking home from school. We lived in a little village, year six, they can walk. And I thought, I want to know more about this. I want to certify as a couples therapist. Now, to do that, I first of all had to go and train to be an integrative psychotherapeutic counselor. And that's what started the journey. It was just curiosity. I really, really wanted to help these couples. Like, I'm so passionate about it. So, like, even now, I don't see myself as like on my bio at Restore to Love, you'll see mother daughter coach, couples therapist, premarital psychotherapist, all that. I don't label I don't see myself as that. I just see myself that is passionate about love and relationships. And so every training, every experience, be it personally or professionally, everything is just going for me to be able to pour back into other people, because I just think that your relationships are so important. Like, who doesn't want to enjoy marriage, you
Mm,
know?
yeah.
So yeah, that's what started my journey, the hard and very rigorous training. But I'm still, every time I'm always on some training or another now. Like, I feel like I can never know enough, right?
That's amazing. Yes.
Mm,
I was reading I went to your website. I was reading a lot of things. And one of the things I love that you kept saying that I've always said, but just to see it again in print was, you help people enjoy their marriages and not endure their marriages.
yes,
Right.
yes.
For some reason, we've come to the belief that it needs to be endured. I don't know a God that would want to pair two people together so that they can just endure each other.
Mm,
Right? That doesn't sound like the God that I serve.
mm-hmm,
Um, but we do get into situations, of course, where we go through seasons, right? We go
mm,
through seasons, and so there are times when endurance is absolutely necessary. It's the
mm,
only way really to get through. But the
mm-hmm,
whole span of one's marriage should not be about endurance
mm. And
or
there's a difference between endurance and resilience. I
and
think that's what
resilience.
you're talking about. We do need to be emotionally resilient, but we're not endure. What are you there to endure?
Right. So we should be resilient. We
Mm-hmm,
should be able to get through certain things, right? Just
mm-hmm,
kind of, bite our tongues, learn what battles to get into and not to get into,
mm-hmm,
which is
mm-hmm,
part of, but through it all, it should still be a loving, enjoyable relationship where both of you can at least still stand each other. You're still able to communicate. You're still able to have discussions, and I'm so I loved that statement. Like,
mm-hmm,
yeah, because that's very key. So,
mm-hmm.
what do you think really is based off of the work that you do? What do you really think is the biggest issue that we're finding between couples that's causing a lot of these drifting apart situations? What if you were to narrow it down to a couple of things, maybe what are those?
Mm. I would say that one of the biggest things that I've seen is that there are misconceptions
Mm,
of what a happy marriage is,
mm,
right?
yeah.
Um, and a lot of people get into marriage and they're in shock. So I find like people usually have one of two stories going on in their head. One is they've romanticized it, right? And particularly with the generation I work with now, they've seen all the Instagram videos, all the weddings and everything, and they're only seeing the good bits of other people's marriages, right? Also, their parents never really showed them anything different. In fact, when a couple comes to me and they're like, I never saw my parents fight, I'm like, oh, now that's the problem, because you need to see that people have ups and downs and the repair of that. I'm not talking about abusive stuff here. Just that's natural in relationships. So they idealize and they romanticize it. Then the other script is the opposite of that, that
Mm,
marriage is something to be endured. Like, you're not going to marriage to be happy. You just have to suffer in silence, right? I when I was in like my 20s in Lagos, I mean, I used to be horrified at bridal parties, like where the aunties are literally teaching the women how to have your own separate life from the marriage because the marriage is not going to fulfill you, you know? So you're going in there sort of like with your guard up, ready to fight, right? Ready to be displeased. And I think those two patterns of thinking are very, very harmful
Mm,
to having a fulfilling marriage, you know.
yeah.
And also a lot of people didn't see, like, you know, when we say I want to have a fulfilling marriage, a lot of the single women I work with, when we do work on vision, right, they can't even vision it, right? Sometimes I'm like, we have to borrow the vision from somewhere else, go and get pieces from other people's relationships because they don't know what it looks like, because they've never experienced it. And that's not their fault. They don't, you know, they just don't. I posted a video on Instagram. It was a funny one a couple of months ago. And I was dancing in my kitchen and I was arranging some flowers that my husband had given me. And my husband was in the background. I didn't even know he was in the shot when I took it. He was in the background working. And someone was like, wow, that you can just do that. And I was like, do what? Like, you're just playing and having a good time, and he's there, and you're not bothered by that. Basically, saying you can be the fullest expression of your authentic self. So people have this like, they don't even know that marriage is something that can be fun, that can be edifying, that can be enjoyable, you know. And if that's the vision you have, of course, before you get into marriage, you're going to settle, you know.
Right.
So you go there, you settle, you're happy with the crumbs, and
Mm,
then something happens when you reach a certain age and stage and you realize, I want more than this,
right. I
you
love.
know.
Mm,
Yeah.
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 You said something which I find, and I want to ask your thoughts on it. So
Mm.
people come into marriage not thinking that they can be fulfilled by the marriage or in the marriage. First, let me confirm that. Did you say they could be fulfilled in the marriage or by the marriage? As in, is it the marriage that's going to fulfill them?
Thinking that marriage is going to fulfill all their needs.
Okay.
Yes. Some
Okay.
people think that.
And you and I have come, at least I believe in that we've come to the realization though that it's not your marriage that's going to fulfill you. You have to, for the most part, find the fulfillment in self. You bring the fulfillment to your marriage. What are
Mm.
your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think a lot of people see marriage as the end goal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the start of a journey. And, you know, Esther Perel says this so beautifully, where back in the old days, you know, it really took a village to meet all your needs. Now, these days, we expect our husbands to be our best friend, our confidant, our provider, our pastor, our everything, right? And we don't look at what our needs are, what our own unmet needs are, and we don't figure out what they are, how to fulfill them. And that frustration then pours out into the marriage, and you think, oh, this marriage is not fulfilling me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But there are things that you need to do to fulfill yourself. There's some things that you can only source from within yourself. There's some things that you can only source from above yourself, which is God. And there's some things that the community needs to fulfill for you, you know. Like, if you don't have friends, you don't have a social life, and then you're telling your husband that you're bored, well, you're boring. I say that with love. You know, you can't look for something in someone else that you're not exhibiting yourself,
Ooh,
you
you hear
know.
that, Queens? You cannot look for something to be exhibited to you from someone else if you can't even provide it for yourself.
Yeah.
That was a gem right there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting because you were talking about vision a little while ago,
Hmm.
and and it's so sad because that is so true. When I speak with the ladies that I speak with, and we're going through the work, and we're talking, and I'm saying, okay, what is your vision for your marriage? They are always stumped by that question
Mm.
because for some reason, not some of us did not get the memo going into marriage. that it's not just a go in, have, be married to this man and just be a carpet, part of the furniture in the home. You
Mm,
must have a vision, even if your vision is his vision.
mm,
So for me to ask the question, what is your vision for your marriage? And you can't even tell me, which means also then that he doesn't have a vision. So now what are you both doing? What
mm,
what is the expected end result of this marriage when you don't know where you want to go? It's like getting on a bus. You have no idea where it's going. You just get on and you're just riding
mm,
it and
mm,
just riding it around town and just riding it and riding. You don't know where you should get off. You don't know. You're just riding.
mm.
There is going to definitely not be any fulfillment in that.
Yeah.
And so we need to get to the point where we're teaching women, if you're already married, it would behoove you, it would be amazing to take some time and stop long enough to say, what is my vision? What do I want? And if they're not married, before they get into marriage, that should be part of the premarital counseling, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you do premarital counseling?
Yeah, I do. I
No,
do.
before you got married, did you have premarital counseling?
No, I didn't.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm, I
So
didn't.
so I did, but
Hmm.
vision was nowhere on.
Okay, I did, but it was like it was, I don't even count it. Like it was a
Yes.
1 day thing by a priest who's never been married. So,
Girl, I love
sorry,
it.
Father, if you're listening to me. But yeah, I took it with
It
a
only
pinch of
goes to
salt.
show, right? But
Mm,
I did, and it wasn't even. It was almost similar to yours. It was just
mm.
because at the time he
It
was
was a
going.
tick box.
Yes, he was going to be married. He wasn't even
Mm,
married yet. And there was no talk about vision. There
mm,
was no talk about, we went through finances, we went through, but there was no actual, what is your vision for your marriage?
mm,
What do you, man, want for your marriage? What do you, woman, want for this marriage before you all get together? There was no talk about that.
mm,
And it's part of the reason we had some issues early on in our marriage, where because
mm.
we were going in opposite directions.
Yeah.
He was doing him and I was doing me.
Mm,
And because we did not together come together and say, this is what I want, this is what I need,
mm,
and this is how I can support you, this is what you need. There was none of that. And I
mhm,
find that to be part of the issues that we are facing in this generation,
mm,
um, whereby women are just in there. They don't have a clue. They have the children. Now the children are grown.
mhm,
The careers are doing amazing. But there's this marriage thing that's just snap dab right in the middle that won't
mm,
move because they have either moved away from it or become disengaged from it or just don't understand what their purpose is in this thing anymore.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
How can we begin to bridge that gap? What are some of the things that we can maybe do or say to
Mm,
help women begin to see it's never too late. As long as you're still in it, it's not too late to turn things around.
mm.
But
It is never too late.
yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
Um, you know, this thing with vision. So, like, I didn't have premarital counseling, but you know, I held an event last summer and I reflected on 10 points. So I wish I'd brought it up with me, right? But I realized that a lot of the marital programs now that people are having, all the things they say you should talk about, they were the things I'd spoken to my husband about, right?
Mm,
And I think one thing where I was very blessed with was I really knew myself before I got married. Um, I was
thank
never crazy about having a wedding. Like my wedding was so like, I'm just like, whatever. Like I'm not that type of person, but relationships mattered to me.
you. Mhm.
So I may not have had a vision about, also I was quite young, but I didn't necessarily have a vision about, say, my career path or anything like that. But I had a vision for my relationships. So
Mm,
even with my friends, I had my standards, like my requirements that I needed. I knew how I wanted to feel. I knew the kind of support I wanted. And those were the kind of things that Scott and I spoke about. that made me know that, okay, he is the one for me,
Mm.
and that vision, yeah, sometimes we've come back to it and we've tweaked it a bit,
Yeah.
but that's what we started with,
Mhm.
and that's what we work towards now. So for the women that we're speaking to now who are single, or those that are already in a marriage, before you can even have, so the vision is not about what you want your marriage to look like. And funnily enough, a lot of these women, ask them for the vision for their wedding, they will tell you the color of the ashwabi, and the venue and the photographer and the dress, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
want you to be that excited about your relationship.
Mm.
Ask yourself, like, how do I want to feel? What does, like, because a lot of people give very generic answers, like, how does this man support you in being who you are? And how do what are your deal breakers? All these type of things, because if you don't know who you are,
Mm.
it's
Say,
hard for you to then share a vision with someone else if you're not authentic to who you are. You might think you have a vision as a couple, but it's not a real one because you're lying. You're fitting into the vision that Instagram gave you, or your mother gave you, or your husband has told you, but you don't know who you are. So before you even get to vision, I think the most important thing, married or not, is you need to check in with yourself. What pleases me? What am I good at? What do I love? What do I need? What turns me on? And I don't just mean like sexually. I mean, what lights me up? What am I here for? Then you can begin to look at a vision. And when you do that vision, I always say to people, make it big and bold. Don't limit yourself in any way. Just let your mind go and get into that place of vision. Just let your mind go. You will find that it is in you. If you think about, like, in the Bible, God will share purpose or vision with someone. He told David that you will be king.
mm.
Did we know how David was? The guy was like a shepherd.
Yes, indeed.
Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he's already given them, and a lot of these characters in the Bible have something to hold on to that they're working towards, right? Like, even when things are going great or things are not so great, they kind of know that this is where I want to be. And so it kind of helps shape them how they approach the challenges they have in life. Everything starts with a vision, but to be able to do that, you need to know who you are, and you don't wake up one morning and know who you are. It's constant self inquiry. Like, I really like that. Why did I like it? Why did that person rub me up the wrong way? What do I need? Why do I like this? What kind of holidays do I like?
I love this. This is so amazing because all you're talking about is self-development, personal self-development.
That's the word.
That,
Yeah.
that's all this is.
Mm.
I love how you spoke about David in the Bible and the fact that he was a shepherd boy and then he was told he was going to be king. From the time he was told he was going to be king to before he became king, it took many years. I think over
Hmm.
20 years or so because he was a
Yeah.
young little
He
boy.
was a boy. He was a teenager, and I don't
Yeah,
think he became king till he was in his 30s.
30s exactly.
Mm.
And so, but because he had been told he was going to be king, it completely shaped his attitude, the way
Mhm.
he thought about things, the way he interacted with people, the things he did and the things he didn't do.
Mhm.
Always, every single waking morning, every single waking day that he had that thought that I am king was what led him forward.
Mm.
Likewise, what you're talking about right here, if without a vision for we go into business
Mhm.
or even career choices and we have this grandiose vision of, oh yeah, I'm going to make it to the C-suite, and
Mm.
if I'm so because I'm going to make it to the C-suite, these and these and these and these are the things that I need to do to get there,
Mm.
right? But you understand what it takes to become C-suite material. You
Mhm.
go to the studies on that. You study the people around you that are
Mhm.
C-suite that you're trying to emulate to get to C-suite.
Mhm.
No more than your marriage, your relationship, right? how much more that you should have a vision. Even friends. Why
Mm-hmm.
is this person my friend, and what do we both
Yeah. What is it that makes us tick?
make
Yeah.
us tick, and why are we together? What is it?
Mm-hmm.
What is that about us?
Mm-hmm.
So that when things are going seeming to go awry, you can immediately go, okay, wait, what changed and why?
Mm-hmm.
So likewise, we should be having these same conversations with ourselves, even in our marriages.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you said about, yes, the vision is written, but you've been tweaking it. You will tweak it because you grow.
Yeah.
You keep growing through the seasons. The
Mm-hmm.
children come, the career comes, retirement comes. This all things start to happen. So it starts to shift, but
Mm-hmm.
you shift with it. You make the changes together,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can continue to stay in alignment. And
Yeah.
like rightly said, I have not yet found it so far. The women that when I talk about, so what is it really is a question that stumps them.
Mm.
It really is a question that stumps them. And then, of course, like you said, we go back in time and go, okay, what do you like?
Mm-hmm.
They can't necessarily answer that. Okay, what does your husband and children like? Oh, yeah, they can rattle that off. Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, see, that's part of the problem right there.
Mm.
Are so you know what everybody else like, but you don't know you.
Mm.
You don't know you. What are you bringing,
Mm.
right, to the relationship to make it
Yeah.
continue to be what you want it to be, but then you don't know what you want it to be. So then here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Going
Yeah.
up.
And you're upset. You don't even know why you're upset. But you know, the crux of the matter is that what year is it? 2024?
Mm-hmm.
Even so far back as 1970. Like, I mean, like, it's still, women have come a long way.
I am proud of us.
Yeah, we've come a long way. But generationally, we've been operating in survival mode.
Mm.
Before, a marriage was the end goal. A marriage was meant to protect us. A marriage was the thing that gave us a voice. A marriage was the thing that gave us financial means. A marriage was the thing that gave us permission, right? Because
Mm.
we lived in a patriarchal and sexist world. And
Mm.
so now we have all these freedoms that our mummies and grandmas and all that, they've all fought for it for us. But we're still operating in survival mode because it is ingrained in us from way before we were born. Women aren't really taught. Like what you're saying sounds perfectly normal to me, and vice versa. But to sit down and inquire after what do I need, it's almost like a luxury.
Mm.
I'm sure you can think of some of your grandma's friends and yemoing to you and like, what is this one thing?
What you mean? What you say
Yeah,
there
you
and
know,
do
and
what?
we're taught to just inquire after men, inquire after the boy child. What do they need? Shomajal, have they eaten? Have they? Do you understand what I mean? That is generally, it's not always like that for everyone, but that's what it's like all over the world.
Yeah.
Women, we're not, so even finding this language to even like ask ourselves, like, to have that self-value and self-worth, that what I need, what I want, what I like, what I don't like, it matters. And that's
Yes.
the most important thing for women to know, is that it matters.
Yes.
Because if it doesn't matter to you, how can it matter to him? It can't, you can't, he can't do it all for you.
That's right.
But it's just really important. Like, I really want whoever is listening to this now, like, you're out there, you're successful, you're doing all the things, you're a boss lady, but you're still in survival mode.
Mm.
And that's what we've been programmed to do as wives, as women, to be in survival mode, to as if like we're not really worthy of care, of like inquiring after our own needs and everything. That's a luxury. And I want you to know that it's not a luxury
It's not.
to pay attention to yourself. How can you expect somebody to love you up and pay you the kind of attention you want if you're not doing it to yourself? I mean, look at Nikki. She definitely pays attention to herself.
I'm the queen of self care. I tell
Yes, ma'am.
all the
Yeah.
Cannot let that slip. Now, was I
Mm,
always this way? Absolutely not. Again, part of the growing up.
mm.
What you're saying is absolutely true. We all got into marriage to just, I got into marriage to just kind of check a box.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what you do.
I've gone to school, I've got the degree, I got a good job. Now, check, marriage is next. And
Mm,
after marriage, really nothing. I'm married, right? But that's not, that's changing and needs to change. And that was never really the goal when even God created the institution of marriage,
mm-hmm,
right? Because before you can fulfill or become anything to anyone else, like you're rightly saying, you have to know you,
mm,
right? You have to know who you are, whose you are, why you are, and what you are,
mm,
whose you are. You know,
mm,
we were created in His image, so
mm,
that means that you know, there's so much about Him that you need to understand first to understand you.
mm,
So that's even our first step, right? And then,
mm-hmm,
you know, what are you? What are you even placed on this earth for? What is your purpose on this earth, right?
mm,
Understanding that is the prerequisite to even understanding why you got married in the first place.
mm,
You see, marriage is not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, but if you're in it, you better know why you're in it,
mm.
you know, so that it can sustain,
Yeah.
the legacies can be born out of it, and then, you know, we carry we carry this through. This is such ladies, queens, oh my gosh, these are gems. You know, these are, I hope you're writing them down. Make sure that you're taking this and applying them to your life, and share, like, share, hit the notification button to get more of these, because you need to keep getting these to remind ourselves that you're not in this alone. Share this with one of your queens as well. So tell me a little bit. You've been married for quite a while.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, and you have an amazing, lovely husband, and you have lovely nickname for him that we all have come to love.
Mm-hmm. My stud muffin. Yes.
Love it, love it, love it.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me a little bit about your marriage journey. Was
Mm.
it always honey and cakes and just, oh, lovey-dovey, ooh, or was there ever a time when there was, you know, you had to work through some things as well? And what did that look like for you?
My marriage has definitely had ups and downs,
Mm,
right? But like I said, when we started having that vision and knowing, like, I didn't ever, and I have never showed up in my marriage as anything else but me. I was a bit weird when I was younger, because when I say weird, a good weird as far as I'm concerned, but I didn't want to get married. Marriage was not my goal,
I see.
right? Because I was like, I had such high requirements and standards for what I want out of my relationships, and I knew I was not going to settle.
Mm,
So my husband was a bonus. I was not going to settle any of my standards. We've been married now for 22 years, known each other for 23. And I can say that, don't let me start talking about the good parts because I'll just be here forever. But I
You're not
adore,
you haven't even said anything.
I mean, I adore him.
Mhm.
I really, really adore him. And the reason why I'm able to be here doing what I'm doing, like helping other people to live my life in the fullest expression of me, you know, is because I have a supportive partner that understands my vision, that understands our vision,
Mhm.
for parenting and for everything. And I would say that the biggest challenges we had, particularly when we first got together, was from outside,
Mm.
And I remember that time I just graduated with my economics degree, and I used to say, baby, this is macroeconomics, it's not micro, it is macro, it is outside, it's not inside here.
Mm.
And we used to hold each other really tight when everything was going crazy, and it really was. We had like my parents with all their wahala, we had his side of the family with all, things were coming, but they were from outside, it wasn't within the relationship, and we would hold each other tight. And we used to do this visualization. I don't even know where I learned how to do such a thing when I was so young, but we used to say, and it's a little prayer mantra that I gave the couples I work with, and I'm like, God, please wrap a cord of love around us that cannot be broken by anyone or anything. And we would hold ourselves and we would visualize like a storm around us.
Mm.
And we would visualize ourselves being held by this cord of love around us that is not shaking by
Mm.
what is happening on the outside, you know?
Mm.
Um, so, yeah, the kind of challenges we had, they were definitely from outside sources, and that would I'm actually really glad that they came like the minute we announced our engagement,
Ah, okay.
because it also gave him a chance to put his money where his mouth is, like, let me see how you respond to this. It made us closer, it didn't break us. And then problems that we've had later on in the years within the marriage. Oh, Nikki, I got help. Because you see, the thing is,
Ding, ding, ding.
I'm
Yep.
telling you, I mean, like, I got help. Like, I value this man so much. I value our marriage so much. And again, like you said, we have this vision. So I could see that what is happening here and what we want is not, do you understand?
Yes.
And the minute I saw it, I would be on him. I remember we used to pray together. Nikki, I remember I used to use those opportunities to report him to God
Mm.
in the middle of our prayer, right? And that's another thing. If you've set certain core rituals within your marriage that you do no matter what, whether
Yeah.
you're fighting, whether you are best friends or not, there are just certain things in our marriage that have to happen,
Mm.
right? And that's what I mean about the resilience. So
Yeah.
no matter what's happening in my home, we eat together.
Mhm.
No matter what's happening in my home, we pray together.
Mm.
No matter what's happening in my home, I greet you with a kiss when I see you, and I have done for 20. I don't care if I can't stand you right now. So there are
Mhm.
just certain things that you don't let slip, even when it's hard. Even if as you're giving him that kiss when you come home from work and really you just want to bite him, just slap the back of his head. It's like you just need to have certain, almost like the way you do with your kids, right?
Right.
Like, I don't care if you stayed up till 5 a.m. playing your video games, you're getting up at 8 o'clock and you're going to school. So
Mhm.
there's some things that it's like in our marriage, I don't care what's happening, there's a standard that we don't go below. I used to report him. So the fact that we still had to pray together was fantastic, because if we're not talking to each other, it's like, okay, fine, you will meet me on your knees in the bedroom, mister,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I will report him. Like, Lord, dear Heavenly Father, please help my husband to know that he cannot treat me.
And he's there, like, huh?
And if he's not saying amen, I'll nudge him a bit. Like, amen, amen. I
I love it.
I found trusted friends as well. And when I say trusted friends, I don't mean someone that is just my friend or someone that's just his friend. Like, we have friends that are friends of our marriage.
Mm.
Like, no matter how much I go and bitch about my husband to some of these friends, they will listen, oh, but at the end of the day, they love him so much and they love us. People that also stand with us on our relationship vision,
Amen.
right? You can't just go and talk to anybody.
That's right.
I didn't speak to my family about it because I know that, and I think I would probably be like that if my sisters said, I don't, this is like, so protective of your family, you
Mhm.
know. I only, and I'd speak to them after we'd sorted it out. right?
Yeah.
So I was very intentional about who I spoke to about it. I got help from my friends. We went to one of the most stressful times of my marriage was when we lived in Ghana. And back then we went to a couples counselor. We
Mm,
found one. Um, and in fact, the reason why it was at that point in time that I thought that seed was planted. I need to do this one day because this woman is doing an awful job. Because she just labeled us the first session. She was terrible,
mm,
honestly. And the reason why it worked for us was because she became, it's like she became our common enemy. Like this woman doesn't, like she doesn't know us. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't get it, you
mm.
know? But
Right.
we did seek help, and that's a vulnerable place to be in.
Yes.
We sought help. We did. I did everything until he came on board, and the thing that helped us get through it was we just kept talking. We just kept talking, and
Keep
I
the.
didn't let him go, and he
Mm.
didn't let me go. you
Oh,
know
I love
so
it.
yeah, that's how we manage it. It's not like it means enough to me that I will fight. Like what I'm quite chilled out about a lot of things, but when it comes to my marriage and my children, I don't play. I don't. It means too much to me. I enjoy him too much to let it go.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
You said a man, a first and foremost, thank you for being vulnerable.
Mm,
Um, one, you've proven that every great marriage has had its own ups and downs
of course.
through the years. So I need queens to recognize that it doesn't matter what you're going through right now. It again is one of those ebbs and flows of marriage. What what is going to be the saving grace is how you decide it's going to end. What you decide you're going to do about it. Now, one of the things you did not do was just sit back. Woe is me. Oh my gosh, I hate my marriage. I hate this marriage. Woe is me. Okay, you know what? Let him do him. I'm going to do me.
Mm, mm,
And now the gap is wedged even wider. And so now the enemy can really have
mhm,
his whole body in there, not just his toe anymore,
mm,
and
mm,
really come and, just mucky up the whole thing. So that's two. Just the other thing was, and I love that you said, because I was going to ask you, you went to seek the help first
mm,
before and then while you were doing the work, he came along.
mm,
Because that's what I hear a lot of women. Well, he won't come. And all the women that I talk to, their husbands don't come, right?
mm,
And the first thing they complain, well, he won't come. I said, it doesn't matter whether he comes or not. This is about you.
mm,
He will find what he needs to find when the time comes. But you concentrate on you. And I love that. And half the time, because that's part of what happened to me, I went seeking the help. And when
mhm,
things started to change around me and what I was doing,
mm,
he saw the changes as well and kind of
mhm,
came along. And that I love, 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 love.
mm.
You left so many gems. What would you say to a wife, for instance, who you said your husband is very supportive, but I hear from a lot of women that, oh my gosh, my husband doesn't support me. What would you say to her? What can she do to possibly get that support that she's yearning from him?
Oh, that's too much of a blanket question, Nikki.
Mm,
If your husband, because there's so many scenarios here, yeah. First of all, if your husband is not supporting you, right? You need to, there are questions I would be asking, like, let's be real here, because a lot of us get disappointed when we're yearning for things. There's what you call an ideal relationship, what an ideal husband, father, mother, sister, brother should be doing, and what the reality is.
mhm.
I would be concerned if he was the kind of husband that was always very supportive of you, and all of a sudden he withdraws it,
Yeah.
right? But if
Mhm.
you're saying he never supports me, he never does this, I'll ask, has he ever? Because you need to come face to face with reality,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
When I'm talking to couples, a woman may say that to a man, and the guy is there thinking that he's supporting her. but she's not feeling supported. So have you voiced exactly the kind of support that you need from him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is he your only source of support?
Yep.
Are there other people that you can outsource this to? If he's not able, you
Right.
know, if he's not able, can someone else support you?
Mm-hmm.
Like my husband from day one was a very supportive man. So if that guy does not support me, I know there's a problem.
Okay.
And if he says, I'm not supporting you on this, there's a reason why he's saying that. But I'm judging that based on the person that he is, right? Now, I have some friends that no matter what I'm doing, they never support me, and I love them. That's the way they are. They just come on the day and they eat jollof rice and they go.
Yeah.
Now, if suddenly I start saying, I don't want to be your friend anymore, you never support me, you didn't help me when I was doing my course, you didn't help me like this, but she's never been like that.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So, in this situation, I would be saying to the woman, what is the reality of your relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't know how to support you, can you teach him how to support you? Can you also look to see that there might be other ways he's supporting you that you're not aware of because you're expecting the support to come in a particular way
Yes.
and he's not? And let me tell you something, Nikki, I speak to men as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know a lot of we women, we provide, even though our mothers have taught us that we should never say it out loud that we provide, you know? Always let it look as if it's the man.
As if he's the man.
Yeah.
And this
Okay.
thing about that
Mhm.
though, provision is not only just there's so much to provision.
Mm.
So I think we put this whole bucket of provision into just one thing,
Financial.
and it's not only that. So I
Mm.
just wanted to say that provision comes in a lot of ways. So you may provide financially, but you also may be providing in other ways. He may be providing the bulk share of finances,
Hmm.
and so it's a lot of, and
Mm.
we'll talk about that. But sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead. I didn't mean to
But
butt.
the point I'm making is like when I speak to men, and it really breaks my heart. Like once you break down those walls and they start talking to you, it's like, the same way I was saying, like the what we has been handed to us from the generations where we're coming into marriage, like we're just there to be like be helpmates and just be like a glorified maid. And you're lucky that you're married, so keep quiet, you have no other needs. The
Mm-hmm.
men also carry this burden of provision.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been taught, so all we need to do is be a good wife, enter the home, and that's it for life. The men have also been taught that you provide. And a lot of men think, first of all, that stresses them out,
Yeah.
no end, right? And men don't talk about it. But the second thing as well is that they haven't been taught to support in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't know that, like the other ways of supporting are just as valuable, if not more valuable, than that financial support that they're giving.
That's right.
So make your needs clear. And some men are just like, like sometimes, you know, the marriage is too far gone. The guy is never going to support you. But you just need to be realistic. Who is he, this person? Not who do I want him to be?
That's right.
Who is he? Who was he when I met him?
Thank you.
And who is he now?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just go and don't just like listen to the podcast and say that Bibi said, my husband is very supportive. So now this is a benchmark. That's how I met him. And that's what I chose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other question I want to ask when women talk about, I'm not being supported, can you actually receive the support? Nikki, you and I know as women how hard we complain, but when it comes to receiving support, no, it's okay. I can do it myself.
Myself. Mm-hmm.
I can pay. I don't need it.
Let me two things I want to say to that because you're absolutely right. So there was a book I read, The
Mhm.
Queen's Code, and
The Queen's Code.
Queen's Code.
Oh, I need to look that up. Okay.
Oh, it's a great book. And
Mhm.
it was, it was telling the story of a man who, whenever his wife went to work, he was always home first. He would leave the garage door open,
Mm.
came into the house. And when she came home, she would see the garage door open and she would seethe. I mean, she would be so upset. She never said anything for years, but she would, why? Is it that hard to close the garage door?
Mm.
So when they finally started getting help and, they were asked to talk about certain things, it came up and she said, well, why do you leave the garage door open? And he goes, that's my way of letting you know that I know you're coming home soon. And so with the garage door open, all you need to do is just drive in.
Mm.
That was his way of showing her support. She
Wow.
didn't realize it. And it was a thorn in her flesh for the longest time.
Hmm.
Right? So that's one thing to answer your question. Can we receive the support that we
Mm.
keep asking for, but we don't even know what support we need, let alone
Mhm.
how to receive it?
Mhm.
I do believe you are absolutely correct by saying we need to explain what it is that you need. In what area do you need it in? Another
Mhm.
case, the other day, so whenever we go somewhere and I'm fully dressed, decked to the nines and everything,
Mhm.
my husband would say, hey, you want me to drop you off at the front and then let me
Mhm.
go park? I would say, no, 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 no. Let's go park together and then we'll walk in together.
Mhm.
He was telling me the other day, he was telling a friend, oh, Nikki doesn't let me give her the queen treatment because she every time I offer to drop her off, she will say no.
He doesn't want you walking through the car park and all
Isn't
that
that
in your
funny?
heels.
So again,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh no, 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 I don't want to get there and stop and wait and then have to stand there and wait for him to come meet me. But he's thinking, oh, no, I don't want you having to walk through all of that. Why don't I drop you off? So
Mhm.
then his way of showing his care and support,
Mm.
I didn't see it. I'm not so
Mm. Mm.
now on. If he says, can I drop, I will absolutely gladly say, sure, drop me off. Because that's his. So your question is extremely valid. Are we able to receive little support? And
Mhm.
but how do we understand this? It's through the communication, right? It's through
Yeah.
talking through things.
Yeah.
What does support mean to you, BB? Oh yeah, I need this, I need this. No, when you do this, when you do, okay,
Mhm.
got it. But if you don't even know what it is,
You
and
just know that you're not feeling supported.
you're not feeling supported, then we
Mm.
need to be able to verbalize what that looks like
Mhm.
in our lives.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so true. It's women and men
Mm.
totally, totally different the way we come across with things and what we're trying to do.
Mm.
And if we're not communicating on a consistent basis why we're doing what we're doing and what that is, and we're not asking questions,
Mm.
you're a very intelligent individual. And I know you think things through before you do things. Can you explain your thought process when you did XYZ? Boom. Now you get an understanding.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Curiosity instead of judgment.
Judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An assumption.
Mhm,
I want to add one more thing to support that I notice. Okay. We say we want support,
mhm,
right? Um, However, we need to be able to receive support graciously.
mm,
I see this a lot when I speak to couples or women who are going through a transition, particularly the transition of having a newborn in the house.
mm,
So many women come and tell me, I feel like I'm a single mom. He doesn't do anything. Da, 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 da. He doesn't do this. I'm the one that has to do this. I'm the one that has to do that.
mm.
And when you speak to the men, it's like they're trying, right? And I'm not saying that we should give men a round of applause for that. Like, honestly, it's your baby too. Like, pull
Come
up
on.
your
Yeah.
pants. Yeah. But what
Yeah.
I mean is like, because you have your way of doing it, or you have your way of stacking the dishwasher, or you have your way of showing up at parties, whatever it is, you have your way of doing something, right? And you expect that when someone is helping you, that they should do it exactly the
Mm,
way you want to. And if it is not, you're going to criticize what they've done you're going to say, I'm not even going to bother because he just can't get it right. Right? You don't show appreciation for the little things. I mean, think about it. If you know, if I say to my baby when she was like 5 years old, let's make cookies together, maybe hers aren't going to come out perfectly. But the
Right.
fact that she helped me, and maybe the kitchen is a mess, but she helped me, she wanted to be with me, I'm going to be like, baby, those cookies are lovely. You
Absolutely.
know, or like all those things they bring home from school, and you're like, what is this? And they're like, it's art. I drew this. And you're like, really? Oh, it's beautiful, darling. And you love that thing. I still have some of
Use
those
it
things in my
forever.
house.
Absolutely. I still have them.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. I'm
Yes.
not trying to infantilize men and say that they're like 5 years old. That's not my point.
Point.
But you encourage someone to do more for you if you receive graciously. And like so many of them, like my couples, I'm like, your homework is go and do please and thank you. We forget our manners.
Mm,
Like if you notice the little things that that man does for you every day, or the little things that woman does, I still say to my husband, baby, thank you for working so hard to provide for us.
mm-hmm,
Particularly when I see him work, I don't take it for granted. Thank you for locking the doors and making sure the house is secure so we can sleep at night.
mm,
Like just saying thank you, the more you do that, the more you grow appreciation in you for the person. I'm not saying that we should settle for any crumbs, right? And when they see that you liked it, they're going to try better. So maybe they didn't dress the baby up the way you wanted them. You know, can you imagine? He took her to the party dressed in, I don't know, swimming costume. He took, like, just at least say thank you first.
Did they have fun? Did he bond with his daughter? Yes, they did. You know what?
Exactly.
No,
Do you know what I mean? So we ask for
big
support,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
it's like there's a way you want it, exactly that way. And if you have someone that is at least trying, please acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes for, you know, vice versa for men towards women as well. Just like at least acknowledge it, show
Yeah.
appreciation. You are more supportable when you are gracious, right? Like if you're having an event or something, Nikki, and I come and you're like, you should have 5 minutes late. It's like, look, I'm not going to like feel like coming to the next one. But if you're like, maybe, you know, if you like the way you welcomed me into this, it's like I can see that you appreciate me being here. Sure, it will make me, I want to support you more now. I want to support you even more, Nikki. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
show that appreciation for the support. It
Yeah.
really helps.
It really does. And you are absolutely right about that. Queens, I hope you're getting a lot of gems out of this. If there's nothing you got out of this at all, if there's anything going on in your marriage right now that you need to make changes with, make the changes. If you need to get help, please get that help. I'm
Please get
definitely
help.
going to leave BB's information in the show notes so that I don't care who you reach out to, but I do care in terms of make sure it's someone that knows what they're doing, that cares.
Yeah.
But my
Make sure it's a
point
safe space as
is
well.
a safe space, and she
Mhm.
provides safe spaces. But I'm just saying, don't just languish in it and just be, oh well, it is what it is, because it can be so much better if that's what you desire. Oh,
Mm,
we have so it's so much. I mean, we definitely have to have a part two for sure. But before I let you go, baby, one
mhm.
question: what makes you a wife that thrives?
That's a hard question. Um, I think I really know myself.
There you go. I love it.
You know, I really value myself. I really think that when it comes to relationships, I deserve the best. I always have since I was a child, and you know,
Yeah.
that's it. Obviously, God has a hand in everything I do, but I really like, I just think a relationship is like my safe space. So, like, that's, yeah, I won't settle for less. And that's what makes me thrive, you know.
Mm.
It's, and it's easier to thrive when you want to be there. And I want to be here.
Amen.
Oh, I enjoy where I am. I enjoy my stud muffin. Yeah,
You blushing.
yeah.
It. Oh my gosh. This has been a very rich conversation. I enjoyed every moment that you dropped nugget after nugget after nugget. You just pouring through. So thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and to have this discussion. Like I said, it's been long overdue. We definitely have to have another one.
For sure.
I hope, I pray you got something, just one thing out of this. It doesn't matter what's going on, it doesn't matter where you are. You can start from where you are to get to where you want to be. So
Mm,
don't believe that it's the end. There are things
no.
you can do, there are people you can talk to that can help you see what you can't see right now. Help us, let us help you see what it is that you're yearning to see and help you
Mm,
get there, right? So, Queens, I
mm,
need you to know that I love you. I see you. I hear you. You got this. Remember, it takes two to make a marriage work, but it starts with one, and that one is you. So, until the next time, please like, share, hit the notification button. And until the next episode, I will see you on the other side. Thank you, Queens. Bye.